Streaming. Okay, we're late. We're live. Great. Hello world. Oh, I didn't shave today. Oh well. Oh well. Here we go. Here we go. Today we're talking about. Should there be politics in sports? No, we're not talking about this. What? What did I do? Oh my god. Okay, forget about this. We're not talking about this. We're talking about what are we talking about? Political correctness. Should people in general be more politically correct? That's what we're talking about today. Yes, Heinrich, you are ready. Let's go, my friend.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you found this topic to speak about because I think it's a really important topic in my country and everywhere in the world. And I'm totally against any kind of political correctness. Of course, one should not mix it up with politeness. It's very good to be polite, but it's very bad to be political correct because political correctness means you don't say what you think. You it's forbidden in a country where there's a lot of political correctness. It's forbidden to say anything. And the beginning of civilization, of modern civilization, was that you can say what you want. And if we stop that, we go back to the Middle Ages, where it was forbidden to say that Earth is turning around the sun, otherwise you will be burned in a fire. And we should not begin with this dark time of the mankind. And so I think we should be very much against that.
Okay, thank you very much, Heinrich. So I think you make a good point. I think we probably should start with defining what it is that we mean when we say political correctness. So for you, politically correct is kind of against free speech, right? It means that you have to toe the line. You have to only say what is accepted by the establishment, by the government, or by whoever is in power. So it's basically repression of free speech or forcing people to only say some things. Is that your definition of politically correct? Is that how you would view it, Heinrich?
Even a little more, you should never say anything what could possibly violate somebody. But the truth is sometimes violating.
Okay.
And if you say you should never say something which could possibly injure or violate somebody, then you cannot say the truth anymore.
Okay. Do we all agree with this definition, or should I actually look it up? Does anyone have a different definition that they want to bring forward?
I'm not sure for it is a real definition.
Okay. Okay. Political correctness. What does it actually mean? I guess probably we should start there. It's a term used to describe language policies. I'm on Wikipedia, whatever that is. Usually abbreviated as PC, is a term used to describe language policies or measures that are intended to avoid offense or disadvantage to members of particular groups in society. Since the late 1980s, the term has been used to describe a preference for inclusive language and avoidance of language or behavior that can be seen as excluding, marginalizing, or insulting to groups of people disadvantaged or discriminated against, particularly groups defined by ethnicity, sex, gender, or sexual orientation. In public discourse and the media, the term is generally used as a pejorative with an implication that these policies are excessive or unwarranted. Alright, so a little bit wider, I think, in scope, this political correctness. But I think the term itself is kind of a negative. Maybe that was my mistake. Maybe I shouldn't have gone with political correctness as a negative term. But we are here. Let's keep going. Thank you very much, Heinrich. Abdul, political correctness. Where do you stand?
Yeah, actually, I was with Heinrich in the previous room and was basically debating the same thing. And I was actually for politically correct, being politically correct. And I think, the world without being politically correct is basically a hell, Imagine that if you have something that you doesn't like to be called with, and everyone is keep reminding you with that. For example, if you are ugly, for example, So it's a fact. And I don't like if I am ugly, and I'm not sure about that, but if
It's not a
everyone is going to,
fact, by the way. This is very subjective. What?
I mean, if you are, if not looking good and someone is
But
always
it's not a
calling
fact. It's not a fact at all. What?
the non-beautiful person in.
That's not how beauty works, man. You know the expression, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Absolutely true.
This is basically one of the use of political correctness,
Okay.
Actually, actually,
I'm
there
just
are.
talking about the fact. Yeah, I'm gonna say fact. I feel like as a moderator, I have to be like, that's not a fact. Beauty, ugliness, definitely
Oh,
not
the thing
facts.
is, what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't. You don't have to lie to be called politically correct. You can say whatever you want using the right words and the right language. So being polite, according to Heinrich, it doesn't have to contradict with being uh, politically incorrect. You can say whatever you want and be polite in the same time. And I cannot imagine this is something that can really happen, because whenever you start to pay no attention to political correctness, you are going to use a language that is basically insensitive. You are going to hurt people. You are going to say things that can really hurt people. So, although, yeah, I understand that, regardless how careful you are, at some point you are going to hurt some people. This is true. But this is not a good reason to just ignore the whole thing and say whatever you want, since you are going to hurt some people anyway. What I'm trying to say is we need to pay attention to what we say. This is really important. And this is basically what make this society, as I think, a society in the first place. Otherwise, we are just, a group of people who doesn't care about each other, and we can just hurt each other as long as we feel like we want to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So, basically, for you, in your opinion, there is such a thing as things you shouldn't be able to say if it hurts people, if it's impolite, if it's there is such a thing in a civilized society as a limit on free speech in a way, if it infringes on the, maybe, I don't know, the rights or people's feelings even. Is that what you mean, Abdul?
More or less the same, yeah. I mean that we always need to look, to take care about things that we say. It's not, I'm not saying that we should forbid people from saying certain things, but you can say whatever you want, no problem. Just use the right language. You cannot. It's not okay to be offensive. This is what I'm trying to say.
You can say whatever you want, just don't say that. That's not saying whatever you want.
No, no. Just don't use an abusive language, because
Okay, so you can't say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want that is not offensive.
okay, now we are just playing with walls. But what I'm trying to say is you can say whatever idea you have,
Okay.
just use the right language.
Okay, so the
Do
way
not-
you say things, you can express any idea, but you can't use any language to express that idea. You should try to not be
Exactly.
offensive. Okay. I wasn't trying to play with
yeah.
words. I'm really trying to understand exactly what you're saying. But thank you very much, Abdul. Daria, yes.
Yeah, so it's really hard to be on any side of these topics today, because it's a little difference between be polite correct, I don't know, it's really hard. But again, I want to shift the focus from the result, from the way how you use the words, to source why you do this. I think that it's not, I think that, like, basically you, I don't know, have to be a good man. I don't know, you can't to be afraid saying something offensive. You have to be afraid to be a bad person. I knew that it will be different for other people, for some people, but I think that when words or politically correctness became overused, when we try to use this as a tool for reduce free will, when we try to overreact using politically correct words, it seems for me the new problem instead of solving one. I mean, so for example, in internet, it's so spread when people say something offensive and became overreact from the people who used politically correct words. But as a result, we have, I don't know, we have a war, something like this, like vendetta, you know, but just using the right words. So I don't think that we have to be focused on words. We have to be focused on what we want to achieve, what we want to have as a result. So maybe it's not more about words, because the difference in any cultures, it difference depending on languages and cultures and other things. But I think that kindness, politeness, respectfulness more spread and more common between countries.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just remembered two things, by the way. One was that today we were going to use a timer.
Yep.
And
For me.
we are not. No, no. I mean, I just remembered. It just came back because I've been so busy this morning. I completely forgot everything. And two is that I'm supposed to talk less to try it. So we're going to do this. I'm not going to summarize what everyone is saying. We're going to go ahead with the conversation, me talking less, you talking more. I would also ask you not to talk too long and instead try to come back more into the conversation today. We're not going to use a timer, but we're going to try to focus on that a little bit. And that's it. Thank you very much, Daria. Let's keep going. I'm not summarizing so much now. I want you guys to talk and take myself out of the debate a little bit. Yes, Morad. I see you have something to say.
Okay, I think our conversation is so misleading because its perception, it's what is a political correctness. I think it's so different. People interpret political correctness someone with relationship between parents inside of family or something, but in my point of view, I don't know if you let Boris. Of course, I am put something hot our discussion. It's I don't know.
I want to say yes, but I'm a little scared, Morad.
Yeah. Don't worry. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing extra. It's when we were discussion about something with my friend. One of my friend, she worked in police long time, and she tell so good explanation about one thing, about horror, about other word, it's about prostitution. Because she told for it's the best work now, it's so in demand. It's prostitution, but it doesn't mean about female. It's mean about governor or something high position, because it's what I would like to say for it is now.
I'm trying to see the connection to political correctness. So
but
far.
It's directly connection.
Okay, how?
It's
Explain,
excellent
please.
illustration. It's illustration because what's happening now? It's the same prostitution. Political correctness. It's mislead people and lead to believe in something. What is the difference?
What is the difference between prostitution and political correctness? I can think of a few differences.
Yes.
I can think of quite a few differences, actually.
But like I said, everyone want prostitution, but everyone hate. The same in political correctness.
I don't think that's necessarily true for prostitution for everyone in the world, Morad. I don't know. In your world, maybe, but I don't. I'm pretty sure it's...
No, it's past word. It's past word. It's a new reality, man. It's new reality.
All right. Well,
I
you know
think
what?
I
Thank you
agree
so much,
with-
Morad, for your opinion and for your perspective. It is valued. I think we can move on. I think I think let's keep the conversation going. Let's try to focus on political correctness. I realize it's a little difficult as a topic because I think, like Daria was saying, it's about that line. Where is the line between being polite and being politically correct and reducing free speech to avoid hurting people's feelings? And I'm talking way too much again. Yes, Sophia!
Yeah, let me try to explain the difference. So the way that I see it, I believe that being political correct, it means like to multiply the entities without the necessity. So it's basically breaking the Occam's rule. And let me give you examples. So I got prepared and I have found some examples of this language. So the English euphemisms used as a politically correct words. Some of them I find quite strange. Some of them I find hilarious and ridiculous. The other
All right.
ones I see as dangerous. So, for instance, the one that I can't get, like why it is better than the normal word. For example, I have found it on the website Pearland Training. So it's a website for the English language teachers. And there is 100 words, a list of such words. For example, instead of saying a blackboard, you must say a chalkboard. Like, who do you offend by calling a blackboard a blackboard?
Well, I
I
think
don't-
actually, sorry, let me stop you here. I think it's because a lot of blackboards are green. No?
So I call it like depending on the color actually. So I used to have whiteboards when I worked at the university.
I think a long
It's-
time ago they used to be black, but then they were green, so maybe that's why we switched. Like, I don't really think there's a offense
Okay.
called because it's black on this one.
Okay, so
on this
yeah.
one. I mean, just my
Yeah,
my
so
my.
it
idea.
wrecked my brain. Okay. The next example, a broken home. So it's offensive. Instead of that, or I should say a dysfunctional family. So for me, it sounds even worse, a dysfunctional family, sounding like a medical, diagnosis for that. Okay. Then the next one, diabetic. You shouldn't call a person diabetic. You must call him a person with diabetes. What's the difference? Please explain. Okay. Then instead of saying the disabled person, this list suggests not the disabled. Instead of saying the disabled, you should say disabled people. So not the disabled, but disabled people. What's the difference?
Well, I think
don't see.
the difference in both of these, by the way, is when you call someone by their disability or by their thing, or diabetic, then you're kind of pushing aside the fact that they are people suffering from a condition. You're focusing on the issue, on the problem that they have, instead of the fact that they are people just like you, just having a condition. I think that's.
Okay.
I'm just trying to understand what the
Okay.
what it
Then
could
the
be.
next group is the ridiculous one. So this one, I just didn't get it. Okay, the next one, ridiculous one. Instead of saying that something is boring, you must call it differently interesting.
Okay, that one's just
differently
weird. What? Where is this
Yeah.
list from? For English teachers?
From the website for the English language teachers. So I
Okay,
believe that's
there are a
something
lot of
which is-
websites for English language teachers.
Then instead of saying clumsy, you must call somebody uniquely coordinated.
That sounds
of
like what
calling
George
somebody-
Carlin might say. That sounds, that sounds like
Instead of calling somebody short, you must say vertically challenged.
that's definitely George Carlin. I'm sure I've heard
Yeah.
George Carlin say this. Do you guys know George Carlin? He's a very famous American comedian, very famous in the 80s, I think 90s, 80s, and he did a whole bit on political correctness, and he went off like this, just like instead of saying this, now we have to say this, and it's a little rude, so I wouldn't put it as a video for us to watch, but if you have the time, I definitely recommend it. It's kind of more edgy.
But
I
you
wanna
see,
say.
there is a list. So there is a kind of list. Of course, I find some of them really humorous. And last example, I find it really dangerous. Because, for example, when we say instead of deforestation, we call something forest management, we actually hide the problem of deforestation in this case. So we don't offend anybody by saying deforestation, but we just hide this big problem. So my conclusion is that if we follow such kind of lists, so we sound ridiculous, we sound like it's hard to understand what we mean, and we actually multiply the entities. So there is a good word, it's not offensive, why should we replace it?
Okay, thank you very much,
Whatever.
Sophia. So you had a point about the words and how adding all these words to the vocabulary is not actually helpful, or about being polite, or is just nonsense in your opinion. A lot of these words, right? Thank you very much, Abdul. Sorry, you were trying to shout out something. What was that?
No, I just, yeah, no, sorry for interrupting, but deforestation, instead of saying that, we have to say what?
Forest management.
Forest management.
Forest management.
Okay, thank you. Before going back to Daria and Murad, let's hear from Roman. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we couldn't see you. Let's hear from
Hi,
my
guys.
friend Roman. Hi, Roman.
Yeah. So actually, I thinking about happy medium because it's really very, very controversial. We have to be sometimes politically correct, sometimes not. Yeah, but generally, censoring important. In social media, it's exists. Yeah, and. In my opinion, when person try to cause some group of people, yeah, doing something unlaw, it's important to censoring them because it can be very, very bad consequences after it. For another side, I don't know if is it real to talk like from one side and another side, or it's unnormal, Boris?
It's
To talk like
fine.
this.
Go with your feelings, man. Think of this more as a
Yeah.
discussion. We're here. If you have ideas, everybody wants to hear them.
Yeah. Actually, for another side, we have another case, yeah, in our social media. Our accounts from people in Instagram, yeah, who try to avoid say something about war, yeah, they blocked. They actually try to post some pictures of violate, yeah, of this process, but they block. Their account blocks, and time to time they try to. Invest money, gather money for our army, and their account also blocked. And I don't know, this borderline, very, very thin. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I
Censoring
think
is good from one side, from another side, it's ungood
right.
because we have a, you know.
Yeah, both your points are kind of the same. They kind of get tied together, right? You're talking about, like Abdul was saying, that the way you say things, or everything shouldn't be allowed to be said because you're going to offend some people. But then the question becomes, who decides? Who decides where this line is? Who decides what word? Who decides what image maybe? What video? Who decides what topic gets talked about or doesn't get talked about? I think that's kind of the question you're bringing forward. You know, if we go in the direction of censorship, I'm doing it again. I'm talking way too much. Okay, don't let me do it, guys. Let's go. Yes, Mete. Can't stop myself.
First of all, I congratulate you because this topic is very important topic for me, and I am interested in American Dream, and this topic is related especially to American Dream. I have some points, and firstly, I can say that how can I define political correctness? I can define to say showing empathy to different groups. I can say that, yes. But the word of show is important, I think. Show, only showing. And why? Why should I show this empathy to different groups? Because there are many groups, many different groups of immigrants. And for immigration, because of immigration, I have to teach new immigrants about the center of the life. For instance, before political correctness, at least there was 100 years about modernization. But after immigration to United States of America, the modernization had to update it. I think had to update, yes, because there are new immigrants for necessity of labor of America. Now it is available for Canada and some other Western countries, and political correctness is is working for it, for teaching to the life to new immigrants, because they are coming to the center. And at the same time, I think there are some different points. Firstly, according to people have experienced about modernism and about the center of the public sphere, for instance, in New York, in London, in Amsterdam, and in other big cities, metropolitan. And there is another point, according to immigrant people. And what happens? In political correctness, what happens? According to, for instance, a group of immigrants, because according to political correctness, I should be at the same time a feminist, a Turkish, for instance, a Chinese, a Christian, a Muslim, a Jewish, blah, blah, blah. And it's not so easy to be different many things in this life. It is not so easy to be at the same time, same. And for immigrant people think that this life new and the modernization is our life. But in their perspective, according to their perspective, this is immigration. Modernism contains immigration. But according to the people located in the center, according to them, they need to someone for labor, and that's why there are some immigrants. And it's interesting because for them, they should teach to new immigrants to the life. Political correctness means, firstly, teaching to immigrants modernization. Secondly, according to immigrants or refugees, the update of modernization. So, well, why my position is against? Because I agree with Sofia and Daria, because the discourse of political correctness doesn't work. And for American people, two things are important.
Okay, well, Mete, let me stop you before you go on about two things which are important. Let's try to keep it shorter. Remember what I said earlier, Mete? Let's try to keep the conversation more dynamic instead of having everyone listening for too long. Okay? We can come back to you, Mete. We can come back to your 2 points, okay?
Okay, only two important things. I can go on.
You can come back to them in a bit. Okay?
Okay.
Let's keep going. Artyom, yes, let's hear from you a little bit.
Yes. I have. It's really controversial topic for me and but I have a pivot. Here. It's from my view. I really like and I use a really good and beautiful theory in my life. When I manage some things in my life, and it calls integral theory. So if you haven't heard about that, I recommend you to figure out a little, because I find it really useful. But again, I agree with everyone here that it's a controversial topic, and it's really hard to find a solution that lines that divide good things from bad things. And but again, that integral theory gives that answer, because it describes evolutioning of systems, evolutioning of thinking, of humans, of societies, of systems, and that's why and what we see now again, because if not to have any pivot here, it's very easy to come to such issues like in modern and postmodern societies, what we see now with like all that opinions, ideas, you know, and where it's really hard to communicate because it's not an attempt, it's not a try to find some solution. It's about just blah 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 blah, you know, especially in social medias. And that integral theory gives a pivot, like there is effects. So it's not always you should be politically correct because there is effects. So we can't discuss physics, for instance, like I think this and I think that, and because there is facts in physics, there is facts in math, and there is facts, and so we have to. Of course, we should be polite. We have to be polite. It's okay for. It's just up to you to be polite.
What does that mean?
But, I mean,
what does that mean to be polite?
I mean, okay, but we can't ignore facts. It means that we can, and we have to be polite. But to some point, if it comes to some stupidity, to real stupidity, we can't ignore that. So you can't say on red that it's blue just because it's some kind of someone's opinion. It's not opinion. It's red. It's red. Oh, you know. Of course, we don't talk about biases. You know, it's like, you know. But I mean that there is facts, and that integral theory gives you that pivot that in our life, in our reality, there is facts. And
okay, so you mean that you agree with Abdul, right? That you should be able to say anything, but how you say it.
Not always. Not. Okay. I mean that okay, it's like it's a really controversial thing, but I think that there is stupidity in our life, and not all people even the same, even physically. So of course it's kind of course we have to be politically correct. But if someone recommends you to jump, I don't know, from how to say it, from mountain, you know, so should you agree or not? So should you be politically correct, or should you say just man, you're stupid, I don't do it? So I mean that it's controversial how I say it. Even for me, it's really it's hard to, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to clearly understand where you should be politically when it comes about politically correctness, but when it comes about some other things. But yes, I agree. It's part of our evolution, maybe. So we should maybe improve our critical thinking, and it's okay. So we are struggling with so many things in our life. So why not to try to handle that thing too?
Okay, thank you very much.
Controversial. I don't know. Controversial.
Controversial. Well, I think nope. I'm not gonna talk. Yes, Daria, let's go.
I have so many to say. So I just want to answer that Artem and Sofia, because I feel that we have the same background, and it's the first two person whom I disagree in this session, because when Sofia gave us an example of words that we have to use instead of others, even if it's some joke, I think that if you understand that using forest management instead deforestation can hide the problem, you have to understand that using like diabetic instead of people who suffered from diabetes disease or something like this can emphasize the problem. So I mean that how you call things or people's matters. It's not about calls red, blue, just because someone thinks that it's blue or someone thinks that it's red, but it's about a proper way to use words. I don't think that we about clumsy, about something like, yeah, if you want to call somebody clumsy, as usual, it means that you want to emphasize that he's funny in a bad way or something like this. You can offend something, but if you want just to say that he doing something like not properly, you have to use another way to say it, avoiding offensive words. I mean that it's like, it's not that use opposite meaning, but try to avoid words that became offensive with time because of their history. You know, so it's like, because
Ok, d'accord, j'arrive.
I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know how to summarize all of this, but that was what I mean.
Thank you very much, Daria. Murad, I'm gonna let you take over. I have to pick up something downstairs. I'll be right back. Murad, the floor is yours.
I can say or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, it's just a few comments, especially first comment in Sofia. It's the excellent explanation. Political correctness. It's our president Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. He told for you can don't say prostitute. You can say woman of reduced social responsibility. It's first comment. Second comment, Artem. Artem, in my hometown we had one. It's so wise proverb. You tengu can common killer. I think you understand what I mean, because you should control your speech.
One more time.
Your tengu can come to killer.
I didn't get it. Your what? Your tengu?
Your tengu.
Oh, your tongue.
Can come. Tongue come to killer, because you should control what you say, because someone can so easy kill you. It is about what you say.
Your tongue can get you killed.
That's all.
So you mean, yeah?
Yes, because you should control all your speech.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And
I arrived just in time. What?
Yes, and the last thing, please.
Okay, Abdul.
And the last thing about Mite, I think it's about procrastination. It's a problem, but it's not solving problem. That's all. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your contribution. Yes, Heinrich.
Yeah, I was thinking about politeness, and that I think one should not be forced to be polite. It's more something one should control oneself, and of course, if somebody is always impolite, well, one doesn't like it, but there should also be a right to speak freely in an unpolite way, because I think that makes communication more direct, and of course the reaction will be negative sometimes if you are too unpolite. And I think now, after I heard all of you speaking, I find that political correctness is some kind of too much politeness.
Okay. Thank you very much, Heinrich. It reminds me of the video for the debate we did for the right to free speech, and the video was on the right to offend. I thought it was kind of an interesting video. Kind of ties into what you were saying. Thank you very much. Yes, Mete, let's hear from you then. Mete?
Okay, thanks.
Oh, yes.
Firstly, I agree with Artem. It's very controversial. And my 2 points. I am against political correctness, but I mean that we need to update this term, because in this format, it doesn't work. And firstly, it doesn't work. This is my point. Secondly, for American culture, for American people, especially according to pragmatism and liberalism, the results are so important and so effective. And if I can summarize, if the discourse of political correctness doesn't work, then we need to update it. And now I think there are many immigrant groups in the world, in Europe, in North America. That's why we need to political correctness. But firstly, we need to it. But how? We need to update of it. And thanks to you, Boris.
Thank you, Mete. It's very interesting how everyone has a very different kind of approach to the debate, to the discussion. Actually, it's it's so unique. Yes, Roman. Let's finish with you.
Yeah, I would like to say, actually, if I understand correct, Daria, I am agree with her. Generally, to change word, it's important. I know one example. Yeah, what I want to add. We can to talk. We can to tell person what you are fat. Yeah, and this is very rude. And we can to tell him your obesity. And this is, in my opinion, what I saw in the video. Yeah, from Bob the Canadian, Guys the Canadian, is a polite form of say someone be fat, yeah, and it's normal to say like this. And we, if uncomfortable to someone to hear some words, and if for them it's rude, yeah, we have to change this word. In my opinion, it's
maybe
no
just
such
say
a big
nothing.
deal for us. Just say, maybe find some synonymous, like we can to say I don't know.
I think
yeah.
in this
It's
case
polite, we can to say Afro-American, and it's nice for them.
I
don't
think
know.
I think in this
sarcastic.
case the
It can
politically
be
correct
sarcastic.
politically correct term in this case I think is silence. I don't think you have to tell someone they are fat. I'm pretty sure they're aware usually. You know, I feel like it's not a secret.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting. It's like, yeah, it's really about politeness, but where's the line? You know, where is the line between limiting your free speech to make someone feel a little less uncomfortable? You know, like Heinrich obviously is all for the right to offend. You're going to offend people, but then people won't like you. So you will get it will get paid back in some other way. In Abdul's case, of course, it's you shouldn't have the right to say something just to hurt someone. That is crossing the line, you know. It's an interesting debate because I can kind of understand and agree almost with almost everyone. It's kind of cool. Anyways, thank you so much. It's all we have time for. Let me stop the stream there. See you next week, guys. We are debating ebooks. Yeah, should we stop